Have you been dreaming about building that perfect home? You know, the one that you see your kids growing old in. You can pick out their playroom, you can see your home office and vividly see what the colors look like, what your flooring looks like, even the window coverings. You want to design every square inch. I get it, I've been there too. I love designing my perfect family home. But I've got news for you. It is not as easy as it looks, and there are tons of headaches and nightmares along the way that you gotta be prepared for if you wanna take that step into building your own custom home. Let me paint a little picture for you. You know when you go to the DMV and you're trying to get your license renewed, even if you have an appointment, you are gonna wait like 2 to 3 hours to get your license and have someone help you? Well, when you're working with the city building department, it actually makes the trip to the DMV look like a trip to Disneyland. Imagine that amplified by 100-fold, and you could be working with the city on getting your plans approved for 9, 12, even 18 months on the high end. We're gonna be talking about the pros and cons of building new construction right here in Newport Beach. We're gonna get after it right now. If this is your first time to this channel and you wanna know everything there is to know about living in Orange County, California, tap the subscribe button below and hit that bell to get notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Orange County. Hi, my name is Gabe Cole, and my team and I get tons of questions and calls about what it's like to live here in Orange County. So whether you're looking to make a move in 10 days or 10 months, please shoot us a message, leave a comment, or you can call and text us. Our contact info is below. We're here to help you make that smooth move to Orange County. All right, so you're ready to build your new construction home in Newport Beach. Before we dive into the pros and cons, let's talk about the 2 ways that you can go about buying new construction. The first way, and probably the easiest way, is to find an existing home that's already been built by a home builder or developer. And that's pretty simple, right? You look at what's on the open market, maybe you even drive through some neighborhoods to see what's currently under construction. But I gotta tell you, you're gonna have slim pickings when it comes to finding new construction homes in Newport Beach. We really only have about 10% of the inventory of available homes in all of Newport Beach as new construction. So currently, we've got about 23 active listings on the market in Newport Beach that are either fully built as new construction or in some phase or another of new construction that you can go buy for sale from the owner or developer. Now, that's pretty slim considering we've got probably about 240 or 250 active listings in all of Newport Beach. So that leads me to con number 1 if you're going to buy a home that's already built as new construction. Very little inventory. You got very little to choose from, and it's gonna be hard to find exactly what you want. You don't have to deal with all of the headaches, right? You get to buy something and move into it right after you close escrow. On the reverse side, when you're actually building your own property, you've got a much longer timeline. It could take you 12 months to just finish your design and submit to the city. If you're really good and really fast at your decision making and you have an awesome architect that knows the ins and outs and can work with the city with all of their rules and regulations, you could probably get your plans through and permits to build that house in 12 months. I would say would be the very soonest. It could go up to 18 or even 24 months if you've got a complex build, a lot of different things. Maybe you're doing a basement, and if you're in a neighborhood that has a homeowners association, going through all their hurdles and getting their approvals, it could take you up to 2 years before you even break ground.
What?
So timelines, if timelines are important to you and you're looking to get into your house sooner than later, then you're gonna wanna look at new construction that's already built and you don't have to worry about those extended long timelines. Because once you do break ground, you're looking at another 12 to 18 months after you've started the construction. And I've even seen where if you're building a much larger home, it could take 3 or 4 years depending on how large of a project you're taking on. Another pro of buying a home that's already been built is you're gonna have the latest and greatest architectural styles and modern design that you would expect in a current new construction home. The homes that are being built in Newport Beach are high-end custom homes, and you're going to get all of the bells and whistles that come with it. But let's talk about some of the cons of actually buying a new construction home. When you're buying directly from the builder, expect to pay a premium. We've seen new construction, what we would call spec homes, sell for anywhere between 10 and 20% premium over other similar type properties in that same neighborhood. So yes, you're getting convenience, and yes, you're getting ease of use and less headaches, but you're also gonna pay a premium for that convenience when you're wanting new construction. Another con when you go and buy a new construction home already built is you don't have any say in the design, right? That home has already been laid out, the floor plan's already designed, they've already been working with a designer and that's already picked out all the finishes. So if you're wanting to put your personal thumbprint on that house, you really don't have an opportunity to. There's one way that you actually can, is if you find a house that's under construction and maybe it's in framing, maybe they haven't fully finished out or designed all the features to it. Sometimes you can make an offer on that property and work with the seller or developer on it to say, we want the ability to still pick our finishes for the tile and the stone and the cabinet color and the flooring. So that is one way around the con of actually buying a home that's already built and not having any say in the finishes. Now let's dive deeper into the pros and cons of actually buying the lot, tearing down and building your own home, your own style, your own thumbprint on that house that you've been dreaming of for all these years, right? So let's talk about some of the pros. One, you're gonna have more selection of inventory because now you're not looking at only new construction product, you're looking at tear down properties or homes that are very dated and really aren't up to the current standards, right? So if you look in Corona del Mar and Newport Beach, there is a larger availability of homes that could be torn down, right? So you may have the opportunity to pick your location, maybe the street you're looking to be on, maybe that view property you've been looking at, and because it's over 90% of the inventory that's available is not new construction, you're gonna maybe be looking at another 30 to 40% of homes that could potentially be torn down and you can build your new construction home on. So availability of inventory is gonna be higher than if you were to just buy a new construction from the actual builder. Obviously, another pro of building it yourself is you get to have your say in everything, right? Now, this could be a pro and a con. Let's talk about that in a minute. But if you really want to pick exactly where your rooms go, where your kitchen lays out, how it opens up to the backyard, these are all things you get to work with directly with your architect and your designer to pick exactly what you're looking for. Now, the reason why I said this could be a pro and a con is it also comes with a lot of decisions. And decisions can weigh on people, right? So if you are going to build your own house, be prepared for literally hundreds, if not thousands of decisions. It's insane. And we're going through this on our home right now as we're building, and I've kept an email folder in my email with all of the emails going back and forth between my architect and engineer and designer. Again, if you are not good at making decisions or you don't want to have to make all of those decisions, building new construction for yourself may not be the right fit for you because it does take a lot of time. Speaking of time, let's talk about just the planning process alone, right? Like I opened up this video about talking about the DMV and working with the city. The amount of rules and regulations and the code book that these city officials have to go by, obviously it's the architect and the engineer's job to follow all those rules. But what I've found, even working with architects who submit their plans to the city, they still have to go through 3 or 4 rounds of corrections in order to get those approved, those plans finally approved, right? So every time you resubmit your plans to the city, you could be looking at least 30 days, 45 days before the city comes back to you with another round of corrections. So that's why this process is painstakingly slow. And let me tell you from personal experience, it took us 9 months once we actually got our plans submitted to the city to finally get the approval. And it's obviously gonna take time going back and forth with the architect to get the exact design that you want. Let alone once you've met with the architect, then getting the engineer to design it, you're meeting with all of these different vendors and communicating with all of these different people. You need, in addition to your structural engineer, you need a MEP engineer, your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and they need to design your HVAC and your plumbing, and all of these things need to take place, and be orchestrated together. So every time there's a change, the architect needs to then talk to the MEP engineer and the structural engineer, and all of these different vendors need to work on your plans. Well, guess what? They're busy and they're working on other clients' plans, and you want these changes done yesterday, and they're like, sorry, we'll put it in our queue, and then a week or two goes by, and then you might get your structural back, but you don't have the other back from the MEP. So it's like this merry-go-round of management and talking to these different engineers and these different vendors. Then it takes, time to compile it all back, and then you give it back to the city. And then the city is like, great, thanks for doing this, this, and this, but here's a new one we missed on the first round of corrections that you gotta add. It tries your patience. Can be extremely annoying, but eventually once you get that green light and they say you can go to build, it's an exciting process. But then a whole new slew of problems present themselves. Let's talk about financing your Newport Beach new construction home. If you're gonna build a home yourself and you need to get financing for that, well, you're really looking to do two separate loans, right? So that can add on, obviously, to the costs. Now, you gotta buy the house that you're gonna buy to tear down, right? So you'd have to get a loan for that. Well, you figure, oh, I'll just get a construction loan. Well, construction lenders will actually not loan on the property until you have plans. So you can't have plans until you've actually spent time to design those plans. So that's why you're gonna need to do two loans, if not three. Now, the shortcut to not having to do a third loan is to actually get a new construction loan that's called new construction to perm. That means to permanent financing. I was lucky enough to get in when rates were lower, and I got a new construction loan to permanent financing. So as soon as our construction is finished, that rate does not reset. I don't have to refinance. So I got a 30-year fixed rate on my new construction loan, and then as soon as we get certificate of occupancy and can move in, it just converts at that same rate to permanent 30-year fixed financing. So that might be something you want to look at. But regardless, you got to think on the front end, you need one loan to buy the lot. Before you tear it down, you're going to have to do debt service on that loan, which means you're going to be having to make payments on that loan while it's probably vacant and unoccupied, unless you put a short-term renter or tenant in there. But these are just a couple of the different kind of hurdles that you've got to go through on the financing side, where obviously you buy a new construction home that's already built, you just get one standard loan. You put your down payment, you close escrow, you move in, so there's less time that you have to be paying two mortgages. Okay, so you've made the decision to build your own home. You've gone through all these hurdles. What do you get in return for that? Obviously, you get to choose all the finishes that you want and that perfect design that we talked about, but you could also potentially save some money if you select the right vendors and the right building team, right? So what we've typically seen is new construction homes will sell for a 15, maybe even 20% premium over other existing homes in that neighborhood. We've also seen if you select the right building team, you are able to have a cost savings of getting into that property. Now, look, there's gonna be some very high-end, very expensive luxury builders in Newport Beach. We've seen, on average, $500 to $600 per square foot. A lot of these builders, we've seen some of these builders where they go crazy and you could get up to the $800-900 a foot, maybe even $1,000 a foot just for the new construction. So if you're building a 4,000 square foot home and you're paying $1,000 a foot to your builder, that's $4 million right there just for construction. Well, if you paid 3 to 4 for the lot, then you're at 7 to 8 million. That may not be any cost savings to just going out there and buying a spec home or one that's already built. But if you interview builders, get the right builder team in place, you could potentially get a builder that might be able to build that for 450 or 500 a foot, right? As long as you do your due diligence, check their reviews, speak to their references, walk through some projects that they've actually recently built, then you're doing your due diligence, and you could potentially have savings based on that premium that those new construction homes are selling for in the open market. Another pro of actually building it yourself and being involved in that building process is you get to have oversight over the materials and the quality of construction that's taking place. This is one of the things that you can't be 100% certain if you're buying a new construction home directly from the builder. Sometimes these developers and builders, they are looking at a profit margin, right? And costs on construction have gone up, and trades prices for labor have gone up. So a lot of times speculative developers are looking at what they can do to cut costs in order to get the project by so it still looks really pretty, but maybe they're cutting some corners, right? Some corners that you may not be aware of. If you're building the house yourself and you're seeing what's being taken place and you've got a great builder that you trust that's managing the process, you know you're not going to be cutting corners because you're picking the materials going into that house. So if quality of construction is really important to you, this might be a pro for building it yourself. Now, if you pick a very high quality builder and you can go through that house and know that they put really high-end finishes and quality materials throughout, then you might not have to be worried about this. But some developers out there might cut corners, like I said, and you may get a slightly inferior product than if you were to build that home on your own. The last thing I'm going to talk about is property taxes. Now, one of the benefits of building on your own is you could potentially have a lower property tax rate on that home rather than if you were to just build new construction. Because if you look at how the taxes are assessed, they're gonna take the tear down price of the lot that you bought, and then they're gonna add the cost of improvements to it, which would likely be less than if you were to just go and buy that house new construction from the builder. Because when you go and buy that new construction price and you pay that 10, 15, 20% premium over what other homes are selling for in the area, then the city stamps that purchase price as your assessed value. And because that purchase price is a premium and higher, you're gonna be paying property taxes on that premium price year after year that you own that property. All right, so hopefully that information I just provided you on new construction was helpful. Hopefully it opened up your eyes to the process and the pros and cons of which way you wanna go. If you have any further questions, I've been in real estate now 20 years. I've actually been involved in over 100 development projects from remodels to new construction. So if you're looking for a local area expert to bounce ideas off of, if you want me to look at a property for you or a site and give you my opinion on it, please let me know. If you're looking to still familiarize yourself with areas and want to know what a resale home would look like versus a new construction, or maybe you want to buy a house and just remodel it and not have to go through the whole process of the planning and the development phases, then that might be an option for you as well. Feel free to reach out anytime. You can message me below. I love to see your comments and likes. You can also text me or call me at the number below, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.